Hey guys, it's March, and you know what that means. It's time for another Bob Show theme month. But what theme should this next batch of reviews revolve around? How about... Oh yeah, motherfucking Star Wars, baby! We've got a whole new movie coming out this year, and as such, it's time to get wrapped up in the hype all over again. And because the Walt Disney Company now owns both Star Wars and Marvel Comics, of course they had to make a brand new comic series in order to milk the hype for all it's worth. So let's take a look at Star Wars #1. Our comic opens with... That is awesome! I'm not exaggerating here. I don't think I've ever been as razzed by 4 pages of nothing as I have been for this comic. It immediately sucks you in and makes you feel like you're actually watching Star Wars. I dare any of you to look at these pages and not have the theme music blasting away in your head. Anyway, the opening text crawl informs us that this story is happening directly after the destruction of the Death Star in Episode 4, and that the Rebel Alliance is now seeking other ways they can trip up the Empire. We see a spaceship landing at a weapons factory on Moon 1, where an Imperial officer and a handful of stormtroopers greet Han Solo and R2-D2. Yeah, watch. They're going to discuss the terms of the Empire's surrender over tea and crumpets. They're given the order to surrender their weapons before being ushered inside, which Han and company are fine with since they have Chewbacca playing sniper should things go awry. C-3PO exposits how pleased he is with how things are going according to their plan, which was to pose as an envoy sent from Jabba the Hutt. Sheesh, how bad of a state must the Empire be in if they had to do business with a giant slug monster from a planet in which they have almost no vested interest? Even Han can't help but rub this point in the officer's face. I suppose having a ship the size of the Death Star blow up in your faces tends to run your resources a bit dry, am I right? Ooh, blaster or no blaster, Han Solo always shoots first. They're asked to wait until the negotiator arrives, and Solo then gives R2 the order to spray some kind of lubricant on the floor, and then he uses it to electrocute most of the stormtroopers. Of course, it's the robot from the peace-loving planet of Naboo that has the most bloodlust. Han's bodyguards, who are actually Luke and Leia in disguise, take out the rest of the troopers, and Han demands that they be taken to the main power core. The officer says that he ain't talking, but one little flash of R2's taser is enough to change his tune. You think that's bad? You do not want to know what he's going to do with his computer link. Luke and Leia have changed out of their bodyguard uniforms, because that was so important to their mission, and they make it to the power core. Luke is put on guard duty while Han and Leia shut it down, but he feels the Force flowing through him, which leads him to various aliens held captive in the basement. It's a trap! Yes, we know. Will you please stop saying that? The slave driver suddenly comes in to stop Luke before he can free them, but a quick flash of his lightsaber leaves him disarmed. He then uses it to free them, and invites anyone who hates the Empire to follow him. Han and Leia have rigged the core to explode, and she asks Han why he'd be willing to openly associate himself with the rebels when he's never cared about them or their plight before now. I just wanted to thank you. I know. Luke then shows up with more extra passengers than I think the Millennium Falcon has smuggling compartments for, and Han radios 3PO to bring the ship around. But before he can do that, an Imperial shuttle touches down to drop off the negotiator that was mentioned earlier. Leia orders Chewbacca to bring him down, but Vader, all-powerful Sith that he is, busts out his lightsaber and blocks the shot. Although, to be frank, this particular image looks more like he stopped several laser bolts in midair using the Force, which would have been even more awesome. If he's sweeping the lightsaber in front of him, shouldn't it look a bit more like this? Chewie keeps firing, but Vader just lifts a couple of stormtroopers in front of him to use as shields. Damn it! And they only had 1,138 days left until retirement! Chewie leaps out of harm's way after Vader tries to bring the scaffolding down around him, and he deduces that the rebels are attacking.
He's here. The rebel pilot who destroyed the Death Star. I can feel his presence. He will not escape me again.
Easily evadable Sith Lord says what?
What?
Nothing. He puts the moon on red alert, and Han orders 3PO to get the autopilot to come and pick them up. But because the Millennium Falcon is a piece of junk, of course it has to break down before it can do so. This is because the Falcon's being dismantled by some of the natives, and 3PO is ordered to take one of Han's spare blasters to deal with them. Well, I'm sure that this won't go wrong in any way. Oops. A bunch of stormtroopers converge on our heroes, and they appear to be pinned down. Great work, Han. If your plan was to get us trapped, how do we get out of here? Huh. We walk out, Your Highness. And we see that they've been cornered into a hangar full of Imperial walkers. You'd really think that they would have at least put a lock on the door or something. Before they commandeer one and start raising all kinds of hell, we see Luke as he wanders off in search of Vader. He then hears the ghostly voice of Obi-Wan Kenobi calling out to him. Ben, he's here. Darth Vader. The man who killed my father. Who killed you. I have to face him. I have to end this. And the comic ends as Luke finally meets Vader face to face, and Ben has only this to say on the matter. Run! And so that was Star Wars #1, and it is absolutely perfect. The art is fantastic, and it beautifully captures the likenesses of the original actors. I love how the plot picks up right after where the original movie left off. It's got a good pace without feeling like it's cramming in more story than there should be. Overall, it just feels like it belongs in canon with the movies. I suppose if I had to be nitpicky about anything, I would have liked to see some kind of a cliffhanger tagline at the end of this issue, but come on, if this image isn't enough to get you excited to pick up the next installment, I don't know what to do for you. So yeah, unlike most other comics I review, this is not one for the box. And, speaking of, if anybody out there has seen it, just go ahead and contact me, alright? See you next time.
Subscribe.